Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Love House Designs. I'm currently making over my office desk, more modern and less rustic. I'm adding a pole wrap around the edges and the door fronts, and I've already painted the legs gold. I started off by painting the legs is antique gold. I love this gold, it's my favorite. Look how pretty it dries, I love it. Now I'm gonna remove the hardware and get started on some pole wrapping. I've never used pole wrap before, but I love the way it looks and that it comes ready to use. It's easy to score this way in between the grooves with the box cutter, and the opposite way, just use a saw. I'm going to be using my miter saw. I'm working on the front of my desk. I have my measurements. Now let's cut this pole wrap. It comes with instructions on cutting, and it says to fold it in half and to use the miter saw, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use my square and transfer my mark onto this side so I can see it when I'm cutting. You do get a little bit of tear out here, so I'll use the blue tape trick for the remainder of my cuts. I'm using 3/4 of an inch brad nails, and I'm not using glue on the front here. Now I'm going to measure my sides and cut my pole wrap and nail them in. Since I'm painting my pole wrap, it doesn't need to be sanded heavily. I'm just going over it with a 400 grit piece of sandpaper in between the grooves and where I've made my cuts. A quick fit check, and now I'm nailing in. I'm not using wood glue here either since it's the side of a desk. It's not going to be handled very much. I will be using wood glue on the drawer fronts though. I'm working by section on the front where the drawers are because the drawers will need to open, so I'm going to have to cut a lot of different pieces here. It was so close to being a perfect fit, but nobody's going to be under my desk looking, so it's going to hang off just a little bit. After testing the drawers, I decided that I was going to put the drawer fronts on before I nailed in that little side piece there. The width of my drawers is not an even amount, so I need to use my table saw to rip it down just a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. I'm adding glue here since I'll be pulling on the drawers a lot. You can see here where I had to rip the cut down one of the lines versus scoring it in a groove. And I just continued working piece by piece until all of the drawer fronts were done. Super excited and in love with it. Just hammering to make sure all my nails are flush. I'm still debating on caulking the side since there was already a gap there. Okay, I have my paint samples up, and I'm really liking this darker brown with the gold. It just really kind of stands out. I like the other one on the left corner as well, but I always like to let my paint samples sit for 24 hours just so I can see what they look like during the day and at night, and just to make sure I don't change my mind. I'm using my roller and my brush, and once it's done, I'll add the hardware. Adding the pole wrap to my drawer fronts made the drawer a little bit thick, so now my screw won't reach my knob, so I got to create my own countersink. That will allow the screw to sit a little bit further into the wood and stick out to reach my knob. I'm using a drill bit that's a little bit bigger than my screw head. That way I'll just drill into the drawer just a tiny bit so my screw will sit down into the wood. Just make sure you don't drill too far because I almost forgot on one of the drawers. Now I'm using a drill bit that's the same size as my screw, and I'll go all the way through with this one to get that hole come through the pole wrap in the front door, and then just attach my knob. And I just come through the front to clean it up a little bit. Now I'm just using my screwdriver, which you can't see because I did an awesome job of recording this section, and the knob is in. This brown is so good. I'm so happy how this came out. I do need to figure out the top still. But if you enjoyed this project and you want to learn more how to DIY and design your home on a budget, click the subscribe button to follow for more. Now to figure out the top.